Peru is a country with all types of landscapes in northwest South America. Ancient Peru was the location of several Andean civilizations. Most prominent was that of the Incas. Their empire was captured by the Spanish conquistadors in 1533. Peru declared its independence from Spain in 1821, and the Spanish in Peru were defeated by 1824. After 12 years of military rule, Peru returned to democracy in 1980. It's a beautiful country worth a visit with a lot to offer the prospective visitor. Before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything we post. Here are our reasons why you should travel to Peru. Take ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is an ancient medicine, also called kapi, yaye, or yage, a hallucinogenic drink made from the stem and bark of the tropical Liana banisteriopsis kapi and other plant ingredients. It's also known as the spirit vine, and ayahuasca tourism is big all over South America where the plant grows. Tourists go on ayahuasca retreats. It's not necessarily pleasant to consume, but its advantages are legion. The reason why people so eagerly want to drink this brew is because those who have done ayahuasca, which is legal in Peru, have made claims such as the plant will lead you to your liberation, your freedom, your deepest awakening, and help you discover the true reason you're on this planet and your purpose. It's apparently also helped addicts get over addiction. A typical ayahuasca ceremony will begin in the evening. A real shaman administers the brew to the participants according to their body weight. Everyone consumes the drink in a communal area and then waits. The shaman and those who assist him sing traditional icaros. These chants are mesmerizing and are supposed to help grant the attendees the ability to ground themselves. The experience of going on an ayahuasca trip can be so bad that you'd rather be dead, or it can be an extremely spiritual experience. A typical trip includes a lot of purging. Many of the people who have taken it claim that the spirit of the Amazon speaks to them and helps them get over blockages or trauma in their lives. Visit Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu is probably the most obvious reason to visit Peru. Machu Picchu is Peru's most visited site. It's an architectural wonder of mortar-free limestone perched atop a high plateau deep in the Amazonian jungle, dating to the mid-1400s. One can reach this spectacular place by train from the town of Cusco, or make the trip on foot via a grueling multi-day hiking trail through deep Andean gullies and enjoy spectacular views. It's really worth the effort. Historians believe Machu Picchu was built at the height of the Inca Empire in the 15th and 16th centuries. The Incas dominated South America in this time. It was abandoned around the time the Spanish began their conquest of the Incas in the 1530s, 100 years after its construction. There's, however, no evidence that the conquistadors ever even reached the mountaintop citadel. However, for this reason, some have suggested that the residents' desertion occurred because of a possible smallpox epidemic. This awe-inspiring site is made up of more than 150 buildings ranging from temples and sanctuaries to baths and domestic houses. The site also has wild llamas roaming freely about. Tourists generally try to reach Machu Picchu just before sunrise for the most spectacular sunrise of their lives. This is definitely a must-see when you go to Peru. Hike the Inca Trail. The Inca Trail is meant for those tourists who seek a more fulfilling physical experience and those who seek a challenge. This trail draws millions of tourists annually and is one of the most iconic hiking trails in the world. The trail is closed in February. From November to March is the wet season, and it can be very wet, but if you can get over that fact, then you'll have an experience with almost no tourists. March may be the perfect time because the days are getting drier and the place isn't swarming with tourists. December and January are much too wet. Annually, from April to October, tourists flock to Machu Picchu during the dry season, and this can be somewhat disappointing for purists. You have to train because the hike is over 3 days with 7 hours hiking per day, and Machu Picchu is 4,215 meters above sea level, so the air is thin up there. Those who have completed the trail, however, are filled with an immense feeling of accomplishment. Definitely something to consider when in Peru. Hike the Rainbow Mountain. The hike to and from Rainbow Mountain is among one of the most thrilling experiences in all of Peru. It's a day-long trek of over 4 kilometers, following a dirt path between looming peaks of green and startling red rock. It's a great local Peruvian experience, passing local villages built from stone and glittering mountain streams to a rainbow-colored mountain. It's a scene straight from a dream and you'll never forget it. Rainbow Mountain is located a 3-hour drive from Cusco. It's at an elevation of 5,200 meters above sea level. When you're not enjoying Cusco itself or Machu Picchu, then hiking the Rainbow Mountain is one of the best things to do in Peru. But the altitude is punishing enough to turn even the best athlete into a tired mess. Be sure to train before you attempt this trek. Visit Cusco. Cusco is a beautiful town with colonial origins that's the jumping-off point for people trekking to Machu Picchu, the Rainbow Mountain, or other famous treks. This town is located 3,300 meters above sea level, and it takes some getting used to. Apparently, the cocoa tea helps with altitude sickness. Cusco is a city in Peru near the Urubamba Valley of the Andes mountain range. The city is the 7th most populous in Peru, and in 20 2017, it had a population of 428,450. Places to see in the town are the Plaza de Armas, where you can explore the Cathedral of Santo Domingo, and the Iglesia de la Compañía de Jesús. Cusco even has its own Christ the Redeemer statue similar to Rio de Janeiro, and you must see the 12-angled stone. As assumed, it's a stone with 12 angles, which was part of an Inca palace. From Cusco, there are 3 hiking routes except for the Machu Picchu and Rainbow Mountain routes. These are Quinzacocha, Pisac's 3 Lakes hike, and the Huchui Cusco Ruins hike, and the Chacan Cave, Balcón de Diablo, and Temple of the Moon hike. All 3 of these are also worth your time. Things to do in Cusco include enjoying authentic Peruvian meals in its restaurants, visit San Blas district, which is the creative district of Cusco away from the main tourist humdrum, or visit Coricancha, a holy temple covered in pure gold of the Inca people. The Spanish conquistadors forced the Inca to change their religion and made them build a Christian monastery on top of the Coricancha temple. Other notable things to do in Cusco include discovering Moray, the Moray salt mines, and the Sacred Valley. There's also visiting the picturesque town of Ollantaytambo, or buying trendy local clothing and many more things. Visit the Sacred Valley. If you can't trek to Machu Picchu, a good option is to see the Sacred Valley. Ollantaytambo is an impressive Inca city that you should really consider exploring. Surrounded by the Andes, you can walk along its agricultural terraces among the Andes Mountains. The Sacred Valley of the Incas winds its way parallel to the Villacanota River, between the towns of Pisac and Ollantaytambo. You reach it from the city of Cusco. The breathtaking landscapes of this region include numerous rivers flowing down gullies and valleys that are home to various archaeological monuments from the Inca Empire, and you can meet people from local communities. The Sacred Valley of the Incas was appreciated by the Inca for its geographical and climatic qualities. Furthermore, its fertile soils and various microclimates allowed the Inca Empire to farm an abundance of crops such as potatoes, cereals, vegetables, and fruit trees. This region has snow-capped peaks and deep blue lakes and even flowering meadows. This spectacularly beautiful region is home to the sacred Apu mountain spirits, which guarded many of the Incas' important spiritual temples. Villages and attractions of the Sacred Valley also include Pisac, famous for its astronomical observatory, Maras with its terraced salt pools, and Moray, which is famous for its terraced farmlands. The Inca experimented with crops which grew better at certain altitudes. Each terrace has its own microclimate. Then there are Chinchero, Calca, and Yucay. Each has its own atmosphere and attraction. Huacachina, the oasis in the desert. Huacachina, Peru is a village built around the oasis of America, a natural lake in the middle of a desert. It's an incredibly beautiful location with a permanent population of about 100 people and well worth the visit. It's about 5 kilometers from the city of Ica in the Ica district of Ica province. There are few things as stunning as walking over a sea of dunes and then looking down at this small natural lake surrounded by greenery and local buildings. Huacachina hosts tens of thousands of tourists each year. The name comes from indigenous Quechua and literally means guard or conceal. It's possibly shortened from Huacachina Cucha, the literal translation meaning hidden lagoon. Things to do in this little gym are sandboarding, dune buggy riding, visiting the museum to learn more about the town, enjoying one of the most beautiful sunsets in the world, swimming in the lake to avoid the heat, or having a few drinks. There's a bar in Huacachina that has a swear word in the middle of it. I'm not even joking. It's abbreviated to HFC for the PG-13 crew. It's a restaurant, bar, gathering place for parties, and location for meeting interesting people. It's one of the best locations in the world for a party. Peru is a stunning country with many contrasts from plains to mountains to jungle and deserts. The country will stun you with its beautiful hidden wonders, and the experiences you'll encounter will last you for a lifetime. If you've not yet visited Peru or have a bucket list, then be sure to include this jewel on your list. You will not be disappointed. That's all for today. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to check back soon for more fascinating videos just like this one.